Do you get up for the guys who are considered the absolute best in the league?
Nah, definitely. You know, these are the type of games that I love. You know, I love going against the best. So I'm looking forward to it, and I know our guys in the secondary, they're looking forward to it as well.
That was Sauce Gardner talking about the opportunity to face off against Justin Jefferson as the Jets travel to Minnesota this week. And with that, we go to what's on tap going into Week 13, because as Barry said, we're at a bar.
We're in a bar.
With live musicians.
And in a bar, you have taps. We see back there, we also have musicians like Pat Kerrane.
I was worried you guys were going to put me back up at the bar for this.
No, you're here. You're here.
Jay's
at the table.
Back in Australia.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. You're good. Look, I don't think there's a lot of fantasy analysis to do here in terms of Justin Jefferson versus Sauce Gardner.
You're playing Justin Jefferson, right?
You're playing Justin
The
Jefferson.
Jets don't travel their corners anyway.
That's the other thing. No. Exactly.
Yeah, they play sides. He's going to see more DJ Reed than Sauce Gardner.
Right, and by the way, Reed's had a nice season
really
too.
Good player.
But Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson. No concerns here. I think it's really fun to this will be fun to see. This is going to be a fun game.
Yeah, and you can't take away Justin Jefferson anyway. Bill Belichick tried, and he had a double coverage rate of nearly 50%, which is crazy high. But Justin Jefferson had 78% of his yards against double coverage. So it doesn't. I'm not worried about any matchups with Justin
I think what
Jefferson.
you're saying here is he's very good.
He's very good.
Pretty good player.
Good. You dug into the numbers. You crunched all the film. And you've come up with this hashtag analysis that he's very good.
Jefferson plus 225 right now for Offensive Player of the Year. Sauce Gardner minus 300 as the favorite, far and away the favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year. But Jefferson,
that makes sense.
I mean, he plays almost 30% of his snaps in the slot as well. So he's going to move all over the place.
He'll be fine.
Let's talk about something a little bit more interesting in this game, though, and that is Mike White in charge of. We saw a boost for the Jets wide receivers against the Bears, who don't have much of a defense left at this point. But like you said, Pat, a big boost. Garrett Wilson back in play for Offensive Rookie of the Year, at least in the top three. I think more interesting, Elijah Moore comes back to life a little bit. He catches the touchdown, has the other big catch. What can Mike White do to elevate this Jets pass game against a Minnesota secondary that has not been great this year?
Yeah, it's not been great. It's still a lot better than the Bears.
Exactly. Everyone is.
Yeah, but from fantasy perspective, we just want him to support Garrett Wilson. And I think he's going to do that. And Garrett Wilson, he rates very high in ESPN just rolled out a new open score metric that uses the player tracking data. He rates very high in that, first among all the rookie wide receivers. He gets open fairly shallowly. He has an 8.5 ADOT. That works great for Mike White, who's got one of the shallowest average depths of throws in the league. So, kind of a perfect blend. And Garrett Wilson's out there running all the routes. He's clearly the number one guy. Corey Davis was back last week. Didn't matter. Garrett Wilson was still installed as the number one wide receiver. Elijah Moore, his routes are still very low. I would not be willing to trust him, but I think we can start Garrett Wilson with confidence.
I want to pick up Elijah Moore, and see if we get another good game from him. But yes, Garrett Wilson starts for me. He makes the love list as well. In games in which Zach Wilson has not started this year, this is a game in which Zach Wilson will not start. Garrett Wilson's averaging,
he won't even be active.
Right, exactly. Garrett Wilson's averaging 19.4 fantasy points per game in games in which Mike White or even Joe Flacco has been under center. As we've talked about this, Minnesota allows the fifth most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Garrett Wilson's a top 20 play for me this week.
One more thing from this game, Barry. You have Zonovan Knight, Bam Knight coming in the top 30 if you're running backs. He comes in as RB28. We talked about earlier Michael Carter probably not playing in this game.
Yeah.
So Bam Knight working his way into flex play.
Officially listed as doubtful here. 14 for 69 plus 3 receptions for 34 yards in Week 12. He was great. In his first career game, he had 13.3 fantasy points per game. It's worth noting that the Vikings allow the 7th most receiving yards and the 9th most receptions to opposing running backs. And Connor, you and I have talked about this. We talked about this on Monday about Bam Knight. The Jets really like him, and they trust him on all 3 downs.
They really do. Good pass catcher, big-bodied runner that can close out games. That's what the Jets need. So the undrafted free agent, he might be taking over for James Robinson. We will see where that goes. Moving over, another matchup, AFC-related here. Lamar Jackson, up-and-down season for Lamar Jackson standards in fantasy. Obviously somebody that's still going to play.
By the way, what's the Mike White thing? Were we blowing off the Mike White thing? Did you see this? His wife?
Yes, Mike White's wife.
This is hilarious.
Yes, we have to show it. Mike White. Here we go.
This is So this is Connor Hughes, not to be confused with Connor Rogers. Connor Hughes, who also covers the Jets. And this is a tweet. Jets quarterback Mike White said his wife came up to him after his 300-yard, 3-touchdown game against the Bears and said 3 words. Who are you?
I think it was like who are you?
Who are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Now I might,
That's better.
Right.
Yes,
exactly.
Like, I'm married to a franchise quarterback, not a practice squad quarterback.
yeah.
The money's a little different.
Right, yeah. Hey,
Not
Mike,
saying she's in it for the money.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to move less.
Yes.
Hey, Mike White, get off the couch, get into the bedroom. There you go.
Mike
All right.
White, pending free agent.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you. All
Good
of
for
a sudden,
the White family.
Yeah,
they're feeling good right now.
Good for as well they should. Yeah, exactly. All right, Mama, Mrs. White. I don't know if she has kids.
White.
I don't know if she has kids. I don't know if she has kids. So I'll just say Mrs. White. All right, Mrs. White. Mrs. White, ready to,
Back to
be wifely.
Somehow we're back to
trying to figure out how I could get through that without getting us canceled.
Back to Broncos Ravens. I think what everybody cares about in this game is not only Lamar Jackson, who you look at his weekly fantasy points. I mean, Pat, this isn't what you would expect from a Lamar Jackson season.
It's not. He was actually pretty decent last week in EPA per play, 11th, but he dealt with a bunch of drops from his receivers, which really hurt, including a Mark Andrews would-be touchdown. So now he gets a Broncos defense that's very strong against the pass, and I'm feeling like the Ravens might transition a bit to the run here and attack them on the ground, which would make sense. You're also not that worried about the Broncos offense, so you don't need to score a ton of points here.
Yeah, you're still starting Lamar Jackson, obviously, but I think Gus Edwards is interesting. J.K. Dobbins has been cleared to return from practice. They've opened it, but feels like he's not going to play in this week. Gus Edwards should, and so Broncos, who've allowed back-to-back running backs to eclipse over 100 rushing yards in 2 straight games, I think Gus Edwards becomes an interesting flex here. Again, no passing game work. He's going to need a touchdown to pay off, but I think he's got a good chance to get it.
Last one over here, going to the Eagles, who take on the Titans this week. Miles Sanders comes in as RB22 for you. Do you think Philadelphia will be able to get that great run game going against a tough Tennessee team?
I don't think so. Sanders is on my hate list. I mean, he's outside my top, even after last week where he was awesome. He's on my hate list, outside my top 20. No running back has eclipsed 60 yards against the Titans since week 3. That was Josh Jacobs. Saquon Barkley is the only running back to notch 100 rushing yards, and that was week 1. And so Sanders, who has competition in the backfield from Kenneth Gainwell, from Jalen Hurts, my expectation here is that the way to attack Tennessee is through the air. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown very close. We've heard A.J. Brown already pop off. A.J. Brown's going to get every opportunity to have a big game this week.
Yeah, big spot for the Eagles wide receivers here, Kerrane. Are you buying into both, not just A.J. Brown, because obviously everybody's playing A.J. Brown, but Devontae Smith, who's kind of been on this roller coaster this year?
Great spot for Devontae Smith. Great spot for A.J. Brown. One thing I really like about the Eagles is they don't have an offensive philosophy that they commit to each and every week, and we're going to play our way. They actually change their approach based on the game plan. We saw them against the Steelers go very pass-heavy, and that makes a lot of sense in that matchup. I think they're not going to just slam Miles Sanders into the line any more than they need to. They're going to be attacking this defense downfield, which is where it's weaker. Devontae Smith has seen a ton of targets since Dallas Goedert's been out. I think he's very safe. A.J. Brown, potential for a monster game.
Yeah, as you saw, Tennessee's defense has been giving a fantasy fiesta, as Jay Croucher has said on this show, to the Eagles wide receivers.
By the way, a tweet just came in from our old friend Josh Norris, Roto World alumnus, does a great job. Your clip is already out of Pacheco. And it says the offbeat clapping really makes this. Connor J. Rogers, Matthew Berry, TMR. So there you go.
You gave me the skeptic. When I started the clap, Barry did look at me like, "Uh-oh, we need to be on pace together."
Right,
exactly.
And we found it. We found it a little bit.
We're in the band.
Not to his,
We're in the band.
But you're right. Not with. I don't know that.
We're
I
in the
think
band.
we found pace with ourselves, not necessarily with Pat.
No.
But yeah,
that's like
him.
Yeah,
screw him. But whatever, we figured it out. We got into a rhythm. Yeah, you a little song, whatever. You do that. But anyway,
one more break.
Appreciate you noticing, Josh Norris. We love you.
Yes, we do. One more break, and when we're back, it is time for Last Call. We are picking our weekend winners.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.